In case you haven't been following the Ripple versus the SEC case, it's all coming down to one thing, and that is the emails surrounding the Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech. Now, the SEC is doing everything they can do to try to hide those emails and prevent them from coming public. Well, there is a bunch of people, including John Deaton, a bunch of people in the XRP community, the Empower Oversight Committee, Ripple's attorneys, among others, submitting Freedom of Information Act requests to attempt to get access to some of these emails, Bill Hinman's calendar, among other things. Well, Stuart Young, who is one of the XRP community's finest, has submitted a Freedom of Information Act request himself. Well, he finally got some answers that he was looking for. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what the government just sent him, and these include some of the Bill Hinman emails that everybody's been waiting for. So I'm going to tell you what information can actually be taken from them because it's actually a very limited scope. But nonetheless, this is big news and there is a lot of leads to go after. And in case you've been living under a rock for the past, half a day, Bitcoin took a crash. Well, not exactly a crash, but definitely a pullback along with the rest of the markets, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow Jones, and pretty much everything else. So yesterday's uptick in price, just a bull trap as they call it. So I'm going to take a look at some of that price action that actually happened and who was calling for it, because there's a few people that actually nailed it spot on, including some of the people in the trading community. And also stay tuned for the end of the video because I want to ask you a question for something that I've been interested in for a while, and I wanted to see if you guys had any interest in it too. So stay tuned to the end of the video and let me know the answer to that question. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind, and right now on this channel we are of course covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. Also, if you would do three things, I'd greatly appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch this video all the way to the end, and check out my Patreon, link in the description below. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So yes, let's talk about that great Bitcoin crash that just happened. It dropped about $2,000 in the matter of about a half an hour. Now, that's a big drop, but it's certainly nothing in the scale of what Bitcoin has done before. And not only that, it wasn't alone. Most of the altcoins took a hit as well. And if we look at some of the other markets, well, they basically dropped at around the same time. Now, for some of them, those numbers were a little bit bigger percentage-wise because they're not used to volatility like that. So, for instance, the S&P 500 dropped about 4.3%, the Dow dropped 3.5%, the NASDAQ 5.69%, of course the tech stocks, not surprising. And of course, Bitcoin dropped roughly 9% before rebounding a little bit into the 36,000 level. Now, if you looked at some of my videos the last day or so, I actually mentioned a couple of things that some people were predicting for this price drop. Benjamin Cowen's analysis has said some of these indicators that have been flashing recently point to a drop, and I said in my previous video about 2 days ago, and I said in my previous video the other day, that it's going to drop to about the 35,000 level, which it actually did. So he was spot on. Blockchain Backer, he's another one that was calling for this. And there's a few other analysis, and there's a few other technical analysis guys that I watch on a daily basis, and some of them were calling specifically for this. They saw it coming. Now, I tweeted out earlier that it might shock some people to see how much power that day traders, swing traders, and short-term investors have in these markets. Because if we look at some of the charts, while Bitcoin, or just before Bitcoin dropped, it actually hit some key marking indicators, and while it was dropping, it was actually stopping off at Fibonacci extension levels, literally to the T. I mean, it was literally stopping on a dime on long-term support levels that were matching up with Fibonacci extension levels. I mean, literally to the line. It's crazy. And so as that happens, you have to see that when you look at the open interest, you look at how many people are placing leveraged bets, essentially betting on the price of Bitcoin going up or down, they're shorting it. You'd be surprised at how much power some of the traders have in markets like this. Not just that, but of course the whales can do things like this as well. But even if they don't have a ton of control per se over it, there is a lot to be said for knowing some basic technical analysis and knowing something like this is possible. Now, because there's a lot of people that I watch that have been calling for this for a while, and when I was looking at the charts, well, I missed one thing yesterday, them calling it a bull trap, and I wasn't quite believing it until Bitcoin hit 40,000 and then retraced to a specific Fibonacci level, which basically signaled that there was a drop imminent. And so when the rest of the market crashed with it, well, Bitcoin had no place to go but down. So several other people that I follow are now calling for alt season, so I'm definitely going to be following this because there's some altcoins that look to be very bullish regardless of what anything else is doing. So I'm going to be taking a look and tracking some of these, and we're going to see if some of these make their moves, XRP included, in the next couple of weeks. All right, so now let's get into the good stuff, the nitty-gritty of the Ripple versus the SEC case, because like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, some of these Freedom of Information Act requests are largely ignored, especially when it revolves around Gary Gensler, the SEC, and some of the guys requesting this information. They're essentially being rejected. But there's a few people that have been getting answers, and Power Network was one a couple of weeks ago that got an email drop from a Freedom of Information Act request. Stuart Young, just the other day, got some emails. And his emails are a little more interesting because they included a bunch of information that we haven't seen before. So what is it? Well, we can't see the content of the emails because it's all redacted. All of their discussions, comments, things like that, it's all redacted, blacked out. You can't see anything. And they do that for good reason. But one of the things that we can see from these emails is the names. You can't see the email addresses, but you can see the names of the people. Now, all it takes is a simple Google search of many of these names, and you can find their LinkedIn profiles. You can find what other companies they worked for, used to work for, currently work for, when they spent their time at the SEC, and what roles they played. This is going to be really interesting because there's a few people in the XRP community that are absolute monsters at doing some of this investigative work. So Digital Asset Investor, Stephen Huber, Tag XRP, and there's a few others that I follow on Twitter that are absolute monsters at digging up this crazy information and posting it on Twitter. And I can't wait to see what some of them have to find with how these names are involved. Because as someone pointed out, so far, only about 11 of the 30-plus names that were found have counsel represented in their names. Now, why is this concerning? Well, this is concerning for the SEC, or specifically for Bill Hinman, for one, because the SEC claiming that all his discussions revolving around the speech can't be shown to anybody because of client-attorney privilege. It has to stay hidden. Well, if these people weren't attorneys and they weren't clients of Bill Hinman, which wouldn't matter anyway because the SEC is claiming the reverse, and if they weren't attorneys altogether giving advice to Bill Hinman, who claims he was gathering information to form his personal opinion, even though the SEC has then argued the complete opposite, well, it doesn't line up for what they want to do. They're just trying to argue what's convenient for them at the time. Everybody can see that. So I will put in the description below a few of the Twitter profiles of the people that follow this stuff and dig this up. So if you want to follow along and see the information as it is dug up, man, it is fun to see. And now to my final question that I wanted to ask you guys. Now, I've been thinking about doing some videos specifically about trading and trading cryptocurrencies for a while, and I wasn't sure how to go about it. Well, over the past several months, I've been experimenting with high leverage trading or just leverage trading in general, specifically with cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, ApeCoin, you name it. I've done a lot of experimenting and have been formulating some different strategies in an attempt to figure out some fun ways of generating profit from the cryptocurrency world. So let me know in the description below if that is something you would be interested in. A video series that follows some trades, some of the trading strategies that I do. You can see my successes, my major failures, and if any of that works. Because as I've been watching on YouTube, there's some guys that do these trades that are extremely intriguing. However, some of these videos, they might be a year or two old. They don't reflect what's going on in the market right now. And they don't reflect some of the issues that are going on with leverage trading. So I wanted to talk about that. Obviously, there's liquidations involved, there's risk management strategy involved, and of course, the extreme volatility of the crypto markets, high leverage, low leverage, what you need to look out for. So this is something that I've really been interested in. So let me know in the comment section below if that's something you would be interested in watching a video series on, something where maybe several times a week, I actually post a video of some of my trades, whether they're successful or not, and seeing if we can learn together. So let me know. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. And let me know there if that is something you would be interested in as well. I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.